All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Make Your Mark. There's this common misconception in our industry that if you don't buy leads, you can't scale your business to the next level. And if you're a realtor out there on this call, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You come into the industry, you're being recruited constantly by teams promising you to give you leads. You're being pitched to buy leads and on different platforms like Zillow, Realtor.com, all those platforms. And I'm sure you've been told that if you don't pay for leads, you probably can't scale and you could potentially fail in business. And so I hear it all the time because I speak to agents on a daily basis. I don't believe that, and I know that our guest today doesn't believe that. Today we're going to be talking about how Rio has, I mean, he's mentored many rookie agents, but he has five brand new rookie agents that joined his team last year that made over six figures. Um, no shortcuts, no tricks really, just putting in real hard, consistent work that were all self-generated business from their own marketing. And so, Rio.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming on today, man. And just to give Rio a little kudos here, Rio was one of the top, not 1%, but 0.1% of realtors in production last year.
yeah,
Makes a huge difference, that little decimal.
it does, man. You know what? I gotta
Um,
start putting that on my bio.
I know. 0.1% of realtors, he's built an incredible team of accountability, structure, and just honestly real skill and development. So I'm really excited to have you on today. Thank you for coming on super last minute, bro.
Only for you, man. That's honestly, and I mean that whoever's watching this, I mean, obviously, we're all busy, but Michael, called me yesterday, said, hey, something happened, I had a cancellation, and of course, with the working relationship that him and I have, and myself and Landmark, I'm always willing to give back because they give so much to me and my team. In terms of support, in terms of events. So of course, this is my small way of paying it back to them. So anytime, man. I thank you for having me, and of course, I hope I can provide some value to some of the agents that are on here. And a little bit of background about myself. So I'm going on my 10th year in the business. I know it doesn't look like it, right? I look like I'm in my 20s, not in my 30s already.
The haircut, man.
I started at the young age of 27, and then this is going to be my 10th year in the business. But I remember early on in my career when I first started as a real estate agent in 2016. I didn't get my first deal until I was 4 months into the business. And I remember I was desperate, I have a family, I had kids, I wasn't working full time at the time. I had a full-time job. And in the subject of leads, I remember getting to the point of desperation. And at the time, this is before you can get grandfathered into the Zillow structure, whatever it is now, you could actually pay for leads, similar to how Realtor, and Redfin operate currently. And I just remember being desperate and having a conversation with one of my coaches, one of my mentors, AZ, and just telling him like, hey, dude, like this is, mind you guys, this is 2016. So this is before social media is what it is today, right?
Right.
And one of the best advices that he gave me was if you're not ready and if you're not currently actively working on your own business, you're not going to be able to create opportunities by paying for leads. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing right now, in terms of, at the time, it was Facebook, creating content on Facebook. If you're not doing open houses, which none of my business is from open houses, but at the time that was kind of the thing. Says why? What makes you think that you're going to be able to convert leads at $350 a month, right? $400 a month, I think, is a budget that I had set myself because that's the point that I got. And as a newer agent, obviously that pushback is never really something that you want to feel, right? Because you have this idea. Like I came to him and I was like, you know what, man, I got this idea. I'm going to pay for these leads. I'm going to convert them, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was one of the best things he could have done is kind of said, you know what, do this and give yourself 90 days, work on your actual business, work on your marketing, and if after 90 days you feel like you've done everything you can, then go ahead, do that. And that's the best advice he's given me. Since that point, from that point on, I have never paid for a single lead. I do pay for ad space on social media, which is completely different, and I'll explain the difference when I'm going through my ins and outs and my day-to-day operation. But that was the best advice that he could give me,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to rely on somebody else handing me business. I wanted to be able to create my own business. I didn't ever really want to have to rely on somebody to feed me. You know, I wanted to be
That's
able
good. That's
to dial.
that's really good. You said something here. I think people get confused on what paying for ads is compared to paying for leads is. And so I think you could can you dive in a little bit deeper into that and explain that in a sense of how you structure your marketing and stuff because it's two different worlds and I think especially some of the newer agents don't truly realize that.
Yeah, so when you're, especially if you're building your own brand, right? Nobody can ever take that away from you. It's like building your Rolodex. It's like building your database. Nobody can ever take that away from you. And that's what creating ads through social media does, is it's creating your own brand. You're becoming the person that's in charge of your own success. And if all you're doing is paying money into, and it could provide leads. I'm not saying they don't work. They obviously work for a reason. They're there for a reason. They do
Right.
work. But if you're paying money into this lead generating system, and I get hit up every day. Every day I get a call or a text by some other lead gen company that promises they won't get paid until it closes 50%. I'm like, no, why? Because now I'm dealing with strangers, right? Now I'm dealing with people that don't know me, that don't like me. And if you were to ask me what is the foundation of my business, my foundation is the social media presence that I've created, but the way that I've done it the organic way, right? So by
Right.
creating ads and having people follow me, having people reach out to me, and then building a brand around myself as opposed to getting leads through a company that, once they decide to change it, what if they decide that they want to increase it? Right now, I think Zillow's at like 40%. They're at 30. They went up to 40. What if they want to go to 50? What are you going to do? You just got to take it. If all you did is build your business off of a lead gen campaign, you're at the mercy of this lead generating company. They could do whatever they want. They could increase their fees. They could, demand more input from you. There's so much that just I don't agree with. But yeah, so to answer your question, is the ads that I create are simply there to magnify myself and have more eyes land on me and create a bigger brand for myself and for my team and the agents on my team, the rookies on the team. But yeah, that's a good question.
And I think no matter what stage in our career we're in, I think when you start paying for leads, when you start working for, you're kind of like working for another business if they're providing you that resource, but it also just removes that skill set that we really want to create for our business. Do you think it's like conditioning agents to just rely on like something that they can't do on their own?
Yeah, so and that's the thing. I mean, it is hard, even when you're running ad space. It's not guaranteed. Obviously, it's not guaranteed to work. It's when so I started my business in 2016. My first full year was 2017. I sold 24 homes my first year. My second year in the business, I sold 34. My third year in the business, I sold 48. This was all just self-generated business off of my friends and family on social media. I hadn't even tapped into the ad space. When I did,
Right.
I almost doubled my business, right? I went from 48, 49 transactions in 2019, 2020, 78, 2021, 82 transactions. This is all from going from self-generating on social media to then now creating ad space, right? So my
And
point to
this is
that,
all you. This is all you, not
this is
team
on me.
generate. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, any of the numbers that I put out there, this is
Mhm.
all in last year I sold 90. No, that was the year before that. The year before that I sold 92 homes. Last year I sold 85 homes. As a team together, we sold 250. So anytime I talk about my numbers, and then that's the thing about the industry. You'll have these agents that'll put some numbers out there, they're $100 million producer. No, they're not. There's no way. They between them and the team, they're $100 million
Right.
producers, right? I
It's
sold
a
35.
collective. Yeah.
Yeah, I sold $35 million in real estate last year by myself. My team made up the other 65. So as a team, we sold 100 million, right? The year before that, I sold 40 million in real estate, right? So, anyways, the point to that was though, the first 3 years though, that first year that I sold 24 homes, 34, 48, that was just social media, no ads. Now, I'm not saying for you guys to do that, but at the time, it was just creating content and marketing my own sphere. Like nervous and uncomfortable reaching out to old friends and family, but you can't. You know, that's we're business owners, right? There's an uncomfortable
Bread and
part
butter.
about being a business owner. So for me, that's how I started. I did start that way, and then I branched off into ads. Now, what I tell my team now is give yourself 90 days of prospecting, creating content, and actually creating opportunities before you even consider boosting an ad. Because some people in here might be already thinking, oh, that's the secret. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go create an ad. No, that's not the secret. That is almost just a bonus. You know, that's just kind of taking you to the next level, right? For me, it almost doubled my business, but I had to build the right mindset. I had to build the right skill set, the right behaviors to be ready to then when the leads came in, it's like, okay, I can handle this. I can handle the additional activity.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not reaching out to to people through DMs and doing the work now, what makes you think you're going to do it when you're putting money behind it and the actual leads come in, right? And you're not even developing the reps to do so if you're not already doing it. The one thing I'd say too is um like no one really knows how the algorithm works, but it obviously works when you work it, when you are reaching out to people, when you are posting and you're building that consistency over time. And I love that you're saying give it 90 days. Honestly, I think it's more than 90 days too, to be honest. I think Instagram and the social media is really going to reward the people that stay there in the long game, and you're definitely you represent that well. Like it's doing very well for you, regardless if you're spending ads or not.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It gets to a point where you've already squeezed out as much as you can from your friends and your family.
Right.
And it's the same people that are liking your posts and commenting. So yeah, there is a point if you're not going viral. And you know, there is a point where it's like, yeah, I have to now create more opportunities and I have to put money behind my ads so that way I can create more one of the downsides about going viral on TikTok or Instagram when it comes to a video, because I have had my fair share of videos, they just don't do as well as you would think, and don't
Mm.
let followers, I know you're going to see your peers, you're going to see people that you started, real estate with, or that you've been in the game longer than them. Don't let their followers, their videos that go viral, don't let that get to you. It does not matter. When you have a video that goes viral, especially if you're just kind of doing some silly stuff that happens to generate a lot of attention. I saw some recently where people were using the Bad Bunny clip. You know what I'm talking about? Where like he
Dude,
falls through the roof.
I saw
Yeah,
like,
I saw a couple pages go viral, and then and
yeah,
then I could see where somebody thinks, "Oh man, like this person made it. They hit the goal line." None of that matters, right? None of that matters because ultimately those people are just engaging with the page. And let's say you do happen to have a video that goes viral that is real estate related. You don't know where those people are coming from, and ultimately they're cold leads. They don't know who you are. They've never seen you before. If they happen to follow your page, then they don't really know who you are. And I think that's the difference between what I do is I build a brand. Every time I meet with a client, they're happy to work with me. Like when I meet with people, they feel like they've been working with a celebrity, right? Because
yeah.
of how consistent I'm posting, like every day, right? Every single day. So whenever people meet with me, they already feel like they know me. They know my kids. They know that I have horses. They'll bring up stuff that I created like 5 months ago. I'm like, oh, like, dude, okay, I've become, in a sense, a real estate influencer, but it's very targeted. It's very intentional.
Right.
But yeah,
And the one thing that you do very good at is you do the home tours, of course, but you're doing a lot of talking head videos and you're providing value every single day in regards to what's happening in our market, what type of, first time buyer programs that you've helped negotiate with on. And like, there's just so much there that it would be, I mean, if someone comes across your page, it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? They're learning something that they would never know from another agent that they spoke to. It's a little higher level, right? It's a little
yeah.
more informational, but it works. It really does.
That
Um,
is hard, man. That's a good point. You have to diversify your content. You have to.
yes,
You can't
yeah,
just be known as the property tour guy or girl.
because
You can't
everyone's
just
doing it.
exactly. You can't just be the educational. You can't just be the podcast realtor. Like you have to diversify. And that's one of the things that I would tell you is if you were to ask me what's my one of my X factors is just that. Good
Yeah,
observation. It's a good mix of educational content. It's a good mix of fun content. Just kind of some vlogs. I just did one recently where I went snowboarding. And then obviously the property tours because you still got to get the entertainment. the people want to see the property tours. That's what they care about, right? They land on your page because of the property tours and the ads, but they stay because of the education and the personal content. And
Right.
that's
So
the
let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what's the system behind that? Let's just say I'm someone that just came across your page. I like your video. Like, what does that system look like for you as far as just trying to get me to become a follower before I'm an actual buyer?
Yeah. So anytime I get a single follower, so there is the strategy, the marketing strategy for me is a video every single day, and that's the same strategy and these the same expectations that I have of the agents on my team is you got to create content every single day. Now it doesn't have to be the same thing, right? One day it could be educational, one day it could be a property tour, one day it could be a day in the life type of video. Obviously, the idea is to have one closing a week. That's the expectation I have for my team. So one will be a closing video a week, right? So the idea is to have 5 different pieces of content every single week, and create a minimum of 7 stories throughout the day. So of just what you're doing, right? So that's just kind of the baseline. Like that is your entry level. Like there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be doing. If you don't have any business, or even if you have business, like that is the baseline, right? And I have 10 escrows right now and I'm still posting content every single day, right? I'm still posting stories every single day. So there's absolutely zero excuses for that not to be the minimum requirement. Once you get somebody that follows you though, that is where I initiate an outreach, thanking the person for their follow and just being just 100% just clear with my intentions. People don't want you to beat around the bush. Hey, thanks for the follow. No, they say, hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate the support. Are you or anyone you know in the market to buy? Because chances are that's why they're following me. Somebody, either
Right.
them, their spouse, or an immediate family member has been thinking about buying a house, right? That is the easiest. That's what I would consider a triple. Home run is obviously a direct message. Like obviously they want to buy, right? A triple is like follow, right?
Yeah.
A double is a comment, right? Same. Like obviously they commented more info or they give you your flowers, right? So I'm engaging with those people. The unsung hero, and this is the one that a lot of people miss, is likes, right? Especially if you don't have a budget to market yet. That is where you're going to be able to create opportunities that were never there. Is actually
Yeah.
reaching out to people that are liking just your content, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people miss that because they just forget or they get too busy with just follows, likes. I mean, follows, comments, and messages. Likes are important. There's so many people, think about you. Like, how many times have you seen a product, right? You're training for an Ironman. How many times have you seen that one wetsuit and you're like, man, I like that, but I'm not ready to pull the trigger. I'm just gonna like it. Or I'm gonna save it. Maybe it pulls up again in my algorithm when I'm ready to make that move in 2 months. There's so many
Yeah.
people that do that will like it, save it, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll get to it when I get to it." But imagine if you're on that side, Michael, and then one of those guys, Roca or one of these other big companies, reaches out to you and is like, "Hey, Michael, did you
Yeah.
know that I could get you this $400 wetsuit for 20 bucks a month?" You're like, "Holy crap!" Like,
Dude,
yeah,
it's
right?
funny that you bring that up because it kind of happened. I don't know if you saw my post, but I shot my shot at this company. It's called Noco,
Yeah,
and they sell energy drinks and electrolyte products. But I tagged them in a story, and then I started engaging with them through a DM, and
yeah,
then they sent me like four boxes of drinks for
yeah.
free. And it was just
There's,
because I built that rapport with them, right? And I started a conversation that probably not a lot of people are willing to have. And that it's the same thing that you guys deal with when you're talking to prospects, right? And I like that you said that you don't sugarcoat when you are reaching out to people, that they're like the intention's not like you're shying away from it, because at the end of the day all it takes is for someone to go to your page, look at your bio, to see exactly what you do and what you're there for. And so you
right.
tell them right off the bat, like, hey, I'm here to help you buy and sell. Let me know if you know anybody or if you're interested, right? So that's really good. Sorry, I had to share that because I'm like, dude, you said it.
Yeah, bro. And that's what I'm talking about, man. You got to think about clients the same way that we are. Like we're
Yeah.
all the same way. I do that all the time. It's rare that I just reach out to a company or buy their product. It's like I follow them, I like the page, and when I'm ready, the money could be sitting in the account, but just mentally at that
Yeah.
time, I'm just not ready to pull the trigger on something, right? Or maybe I'm not as I guess I'm not open to what options I have, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that I would tell you is just that is the key to my success is engaging with every single person that engages with my content. But guess what? If you're not creating the content, then you're not going to have those opportunities to engage.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand with each other.
So like everyone talks about systems, but marketing goes before systems because the systems are useless if you don't put out the piece, right?
Yeah, man, that's such a good point too, because there's so many companies and brokerages out there that that's all they're pitching. You go to these seminars and like, oh,
Yep.
this follow-up boss and this system and that system, and it's like, okay, cool, you're learning these systems to be an employee for the person that's going to give you leads, right? As opposed to you creating your own leads. And I think that's the
Right.
biggest takeaway. This industry has changed so much over the last 10 years, where that is for the most part, most of the pitches that people are getting is we promise you leads. I don't give my agents leads. So to answer your
Mhm.
question, I mean, in terms of my agents, trying to answer your question, but to bring it back to that, like
Right.
five first-year rookie agents that made at least $100,000. Two of them made $170,000 in their first year in the business. Now, why is that? Well, one, obviously, I'm not having to pay Zillow to get them leads. They're creating their own leads. So we're cutting out right there 30, 40% that goes to them. Right. So normally that's how it works, right? You have a Zillow lead or realtor lead or Redfin lead, and you pay 30% to the company, and then what's remaining is left to be chopped up between you, the agent, and the brokerage, right? Um, the both of the agents that sold about 170K, just to kind of give you guys an idea, one sold 20 homes and one sold 22 homes. So what does that tell you? Look at the profit margins on that. I mean, if you ask any of those type of agents that are working at Redfin or Zillow Teams or all those other places, if they sold 20 homes, maybe they made 60 grand,
Cut in
50 grand,
half.
if
Yep.
that, if that. These
Yep.
guys are working part-time making that kind of money, dude. It's insane. I mean, I'm changing this strategy, this, and you live and breathe it too, right? You're around it. You're all
Yeah.
about generating your own business. I mean, that's life changing to go from making 60, $70,000 a year, working 80 hours a week to now you're making $170,000 a year, working part-time, selling an average of like 1.5 homes per month.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the kind of numbers that are possible, not only in, and here's the thing, like this is all self-generated business. It doesn't seem like oh, they only sold 22 homes, but when it's 22 homes that they generated on their own, or 20
Right.
homes that they generated on the home, and they're keeping a significantly bigger chunk of the commission, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a game changer for sure. And I was going to transition into that. So, you we talked and we said five rookie agents made over
Mhm.
6 figures, but obviously you have like most of your agents on your team are all rookies, right? And
Yeah.
so regardless of if we're talking 6 figures or not, like, you know, to me when I think of agents coming into the industry, most of the time, like your first year or first 3 years are always the hardest in business because you're starting from scratch. You have no experience, no pipeline, or at least your sphere of influence that you're trying to work, and you're just figuring it out. But so like let's just say you're talking about the 5 agents that have made 6 figures and built their business. Like, what are you doing to help get them there? Because I know there's accountability, but like, what does that look like coming from you? Because you're definitely a leader and a great example to that.
Yeah. That's key right there, man, is I have to lead from the front, right? So as a producing real estate agent, as a top producer, I think I ranked 50 in the state out of 40,000 agents, right? My job is to continue to produce, right? That's the best thing that I could do as a team lead to an agent is show them how it's done based off of what I do, because then I can kind of tweak things and say, hey, you know what, these ads aren't working too well. I'm switching up my style a little bit. I went through the transition where long format was kind of in, and then it switched to short format content, right? And now it's switching back over to long format. So like it's just trends through the industry that kind of happens. So just having a mentor that is doing it with you is a big deal, and that's one of the things that I would say is lost. There's not a lot of performing team leads out there. Most of the time, they're just creating employees, right? They're building worker bees to work their pipelines and work their leads. And here's the thing, I don't mean to crap on these. Obviously there's a place for them. If you're not that type of person, if you're not somebody that's willing to put themselves out there and create social media content, if you're not the type of person, if you're very reserved, if you have an anxiety, then this isn't for you, right? Send this video to somebody that it is for, that can help create business. This isn't for everybody. Um, but I'll tell you this, it's a lot easier to do that than go and stand at an open house. For me personally, that gives me anxiety. Dealing with
Yeah.
strangers that I don't know or that don't know me, that gives me anxiety. Going and door knocking, heck no. Going and calling people, no way. That gives me anxiety. Like I much rather do the social media for me doesn't give me anxiety, right? I get to hide behind a camera. And then when I meet with them, they already know me. They already like me. They already trust me, right? So, in regards to the team, obviously, like that's the best thing that I could do is just lead from the front and make sure that they're seeing their team lead and create this content. And here's the thing, there's so many realtors out there on social media. Don't get discouraged by them, guys. I know there's a ton that go viral and they have a bunch of followers. A lot of them do not have the numbers. I promise you, a lot of them are not producers. I don't mean to expose them, but one time we were looking at one of this realtor that raps on social media. He's very famous, very famous. Great guy, seems like a great guy. His main book of business, his main source of income is recruiting. That's his only job. We looked at his numbers because you can look it up on like homes.com. And he had only sold 7 homes in that year, which there's nothing wrong with that. 7 homes is an amazing accomplishment as a new agent. But when, you have 200,000 followers and you portray yourself as a top producer, you expect more, right? So, if you're on this call and you got 350 followers, don't get discouraged. That when you see these people that are posting content that have a bunch of views and likes, it's fluff, right?
Yeah.
The hard work, that's the reaching out to the likes, the comments, the follows, the messages, that really makes a difference. And
Yeah,
these
you
guys
just
all started that way, man. None of them were influencers. Out of these people that I'm talking about, none of them were influencers. They all started off with 350, 400 followers, and
right.
they
They're
just
just
built themselves up.
going deeper and more intentional with them, right? That's what it's
Exactly.
about. When people join your team, like what is like the expectation that you have that you set with these agents from day one?
The very first thing I do is I have them meet with my industry partners. That's really important. I have them meet with you. I have them meet with Jason, with my title company, because I want them to make sure that they understand that they're not alone. It's scary because I remember as an agent when I came into the business, it was kind of scary. We didn't have the time systems that we have now. So at the time it was, you feel like you're on your own and you're trying to kind of like you're trying to create these relationships. You're trying to have a voice, right? So I have them meet with you guys to make sure that you guys have a name, a face to the name, so that way when they do send you a deal, it's like, oh, okay, this is, so and so. And then we have I would say like not a boot camp, but we have like a 30-day marketing campaign that we do. We hit the ground running. I have an
Yeah.
agent, one of the agents that I was talking about, he wasn't even licensed yet. And I said, look, man, I need you to post content. You can't be too specific because you're not licensed yet, but just speak on generalities. Like if anybody wanted to, right? And he did. He was after it, and he ended up being one of those 770K producers. So he just started creating content since day one. The biggest thing is to just jump into it. That is there is no waiting period, right? The longer you wait, there's one or two people that could have potentially bought with you that they're no longer going to buy with you, right? So the very first thing is start creating content. Doesn't matter if you know. I tell them, look at my page, grab a video, repurpose it, and then use that. That's one of the biggest um, feedbacks that I've gotten, and one of the biggest concerns that I get from new agents. They don't know what they're going to say. They don't want to sound dumb. They don't want to sound inexperienced. They don't want to sound like they don't know what they're talking about. Your only goal is to get somebody to reach out to you. And then from that point on, have your team lead, have your broker, have your lender say, okay, ask some basic questions, right? Like how much do you make? What's your credit score range? What's your current monthly debt? Okay, cool. Take that information and talk to somebody that's going to help you and say, look, hey, this is their situation. Where do you think they're going to be? Like what's the overall assessment? Like how much do you think they'll qualify for? Okay, cool. They'll qualify for about 450. Perfect. They have a 700 credit score. Is there any kind of loan programs that we have? Okay, cool. I'll offer this to them and then just meet with the people. Like you got to take those opportunities. But same concept that I just said, do that same exact thing when it comes to creating content, right? Like if you don't know what you want to talk about, talk to your broker, talk to your team lead, talk to your lender, talk to Michael. Michael's a wealth of knowledge, man. Like because like Michael, you talk to so many different people, so many different agents, so many different backgrounds, levels, high, low, right, and everything.
100%. Yeah.
Um, and obviously you have so much knowledge. Reach out to Michael. Hey, Michael, I want to create a video on this. Like,
Yeah.
what would
No,
be
for
some
sure.
top, right?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to Rio and like some of the partners that I get to work with, like that's the reason why at my Arrowhead office we put together like a studio, right?
Yeah,
So
there you
that way
go.
we can help agents create content and you know, just market themselves, get put them in a comfortable setting because this is kind of leading into my next question is like that skill set to jump on camera is not for everyone, but it takes a lot of reps and practice. And I want to ask you because I've experienced it myself. What's that mindset look like and that change that you see from some of these agents that, you know, start doing video from day one to day 30? Like how much more confident they are? Like what does that look like when you see it from the day to day?
Dude, it's such a beautiful thing to witness that. I mean, think about like when we started running, right? Michael and I and a couple of the agents in our office just did a marathon in December, right? And you and I are both bigger guys, you know, and I think we had that conversation where, you know, we're just not like the typical, you know, running type build people, right? Like we're heavier, you
Yeah,
know, we're 200 pounds plus, and like you ended up being the fastest one there. Think about that, like how hard it was to start, but then how progressively it got easier and easier and easier. Now, if you take 2 weeks off, you could take 2 weeks off, and then you might not be the same, but you'll be pretty damn
yeah,
close, right? It's the same exact concept. When it comes to creating content, it's a muscle, it's a memory, and it is training yourself to be comfortable and confident on camera, you know. And that is very hard to start up again. Once you start, you can't really hop off that train. You know,
yeah,
if you stop creating content, if you stop creating, then it's going to be 10 times harder because you're going to feel like a fraud, you're going to feel fake, you're going to feel like people are going to judge you. Those are all common feelings that I have and I have had in the past. It's
right.
normal to feel that way, but once you're on, you can't really hop off. And I've kind of come to terms with that. It's like I can never stop marketing. Like I can't until I'm ready to retire. I mean, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. Like I'm always going to be on social media. I'm always going to be creating content. So one of the things that I did back in 2019 that helped me really get extremely confident and comfortable on camera was I created a 90-day challenge for myself where I went live. This is back when Facebook was kind of the big thing. Facebook Live had just come out. So I went live for 90 days, and I think I ended up missing like 2 or 3 days. So I wasn't 100% consistent. I was 99% consistent in that. So I set out that challenge for myself, and it really helped build my confidence, right? So one thing that I do with my agents that are starting off is I give them a video a day challenge for the first 30 days. Say, hey, I need 20 videos from you. You know, take your weekends off, but I need Monday through Friday, you know, at least one video. And it forces you. It really does. It forces you to have to do it, and it doesn't make it optional. You know, and that's the biggest thing. It's not optional for you to create content as a business owner is not optional. For you to market is not optional. You know, one thing I'll tell you is with real estate, there is no bigger return on investment than what we do. Right?
Right.
With the content that we put in and the marketing dollars that we put behind it, there's no other industry that will pay you the returns that one client will pay you if you end up closing a house with them. And that's huge, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah, no, I like how you said that doing video is definitely a muscle because I've experienced it myself where I take a few days off and then the day that I decide to make a video, I'm like struggling a little bit because it's like a repetition thing and there are days where you question like, okay, should I really put this out there? But 9 times out of 10, when I still question myself and I still execute and I put something out there, there's a lot of great feedback from people, right? There's a lot of great DMs or just conversations that are being had from the things that I put out. And I mean, I guess if I'm giving some advice to anyone out there, it's like don't overthink it. Just create a plan and just do it because you're gonna continuously question if I made this video, will it help me get to where I want to be? And you'll never have that answer if you don't, you know, commit. So
That's a
that's
great
really,
point, man. That's a really good point. I have a saying is don't post and pray, it's post and prospect. You can't
Ooh,
just post and pray that you're going to get leads in business. No, you got to post and prospect. You got to reach out to people. You got to engage. That's the worst thing that you can do is post something that you spent all this time and energy working up to. You're like, okay, I got this great video idea. It's boom, boom, right? And you're like, and you put it out there and it
yeah.
falls flat. And you get 2 likes and you get 0 comments. And then your energy just gets drained because of that. So you have to prospect people. You have to reach out to people that are engaging and commenting and liking your posts.
And something we didn't really touch on is like it doesn't take a lot for someone to just double tap and like something or give you time, but there's not a lot of people that do that. A lot of people are just scrollers, right? They just want a little bit of adrenaline, or what is it called? Dopamine, right? They just want a little dopamine hit and then they're on to the next thing. But if someone like encourages and gives you that time, like that's your way into to reach out to them 100%.
So valuable.
Like
That's so
you have to
valuable.
take advantage of that.
Oh, you're so right on that, man. That's so valuable. Like, I don't like stuff. I don't. You know why I don't like stuff? Because I don't want to mess up my algorithm. I'm like stuck on the algorithm, bro. I'm like, I don't want to like it. I like it, but I don't want to like it because I don't want to mess up my algorithm. I don't want to get a bunch of stuff now related to, snowboarding on this particular brand. Like I'll save it.
Yeah.
But to that point, absolutely. Like when I do like something, I really felt like I had to like engage with that particular product or person or whatever because I'm like, oh man,
Right.
good. So that's a powerful thing. And you're right. I don't think people really truly understand how valuable that is. And imagine you as a consumer doing that and then you got this brand, right, reaching out to you and acknowledging that and saying, hey, thanks for the support. Just a heads up, we got some great creative finance programs. Let me know when you're ready. Very passive, very chill, and then you move on. That's exactly what I do. So what are my scripts? When somebody likes the post, hey, I appreciate you showing some love on my post. We have some great creative financing solutions available. If you're in the market to buy or sell, reach out to me. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. Super chill, super passive. There's no awkwardness to it. It could be a friend or family member. Hey, bro, thanks for liking the post, man. Thanks for sharing the love. If you know anybody that's looking to buy, just share my post. I have some great creative finance solutions available.
Yeah.
Simple as that, man. As simple as
And
that.
it's just a great conversation starter too. Like you don't want to just slide into a DM and be like, "Hey, how are you?" It's like
No,
show some gratitude first and then start a conversation, you
it's
know?
like that Marshawn. It's like that Marshawn Lynch. I was like, you know why I'm here. Like, like pop into the DMs. You know why I'm here. Let's not sugarcoat it. I'm trying to sell you some shit. Like, I'm not gonna, kids, none of that. Like, what? We both know what we're doing. Like, let's just get to it. And that's exactly it, man. Like, don't sugarcoat it. Just, you're a business owner. You can't. You
That's
know.
good. I don't know if you know this, but it's just a good question that I want to ask before we kind of shut it down here.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any questions, like, come on, take your shot now. Rio's a wealth of
Please
knowledge,
do.
but please. So do you have like a case study? Because I know 90 days is like the typical cycle of like seeing good results, but do you have like a case study yet where you get a new agent, you put them on your strategy for marketing, and how fast like a lead is generated and converted into like an actual buyer doing showings?
Got a great story on that. So, Anthony,
Yes. Okay,
one of
cool.
the 170 K earners, 20, I think he was at 20 transactions. He did the marathon with us, right?
Yeah.
There's no accident there. Like the dude is just plugging in, right? Young kid too. And one thing actually, before I go into that, out of those 5 people, and I guarantee that you guys on this call are going to hit that demographic because you might be thinking, oh, it's I'm too young or oh, I'm too old. No. Out of those 5 people, 3 of them were in their late 30s, and the other two were in their young early 20s, right? 25, 26, and like 37, 38, right? So age is not a factor in this. It doesn't matter how young or old you think you are or how late you're getting into the game. It doesn't matter. One of them had a successful Herbalife business, and she still did amazing, right? So even
Uh,
that part, like if you're transitioning and if you're going from maybe you are, that's you. Maybe you are a Herbalife or whatever, like a multi-level marketing person and you feel like a fraud because now you're switching from one thing to the other. Like, don't. These people didn't. They didn't care what anybody thought. And then look at they're now reaping the reward of that, right?
Right.
That one agent in particular, I asked her, I said, what's the most money you ever made between you and your husband together doing this? And then she said, we made about 120. And for her to make that on her own was amazing, right? But Anthony, so this is the one that I was telling you guys about that he wasn't even licensed yet because he was waiting for his fingerprints clearance card. He forgot to submit it. So then he had been interviewing with agents, and it wasn't until he talked to me that I told him, I was like, "Do you have your fingerprints card?" Because I remember that was the one thing that stuck with me when I was in school is like, make sure you get your fingerprints clearance card a month before you take your test, because if you don't,
Right. Takes
then
time.
you're gonna forget, and it's too late, right? So then so he was waiting on that. He already passed his test. He already had everything. He was just waiting on his card. And he's the one that started creating content. And he ended up getting a lead, but he couldn't help him out. So I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm gonna go ahead and just take care of them, and then I will give you full sales credit. Like I'll give you your part of the commission. Obviously, I'm gonna take my team fees off of that. But I said, don't worry. Like I can't have you out there showing houses or talking about real estate yet. But like we're going to work on this together. Obviously, I'm still going to, have you talk to him, as his main point of contact. But yeah, dude, before he even had his license. Now, the good thing is it kind of happened to work out is that I think like a week after or a week before closing, he finally did get his license. But by that time, the transaction was too far along to switch it under his name on the contract. But we closed it out, and he was able to get paid as a real estate agent. But it took him. He wasn't even licensed, and he got his first lead. And others, it takes months, right?
Right.
Others, it takes months. I've had like it took me 4 months to get my first deal. But yeah, that is one of the. I don't think I haven't heard of anybody having that quick of a turnaround on how fast they were able to generate business. And mind you, Anthony came from being he was a city of Glendale inspector, like water inspector, had zero background in the industry, had zero knowledge. I said, take this video, repurpose it, recreate it, and then he just did, and it worked.
Dang, that's crazy.
Um,
Not even licensed yet.
Not even licensed, right? And then we did everything legal. He just sent me the lead, right? And then I helped the client out. But yeah, not even licensed, and he was already on his way to get his first $10,000 check, which is insane. And then obviously those results, right, showed and transitioned into the following year because he was able to help out a ton of families for his first year in the business, all self-generated, business.
Yeah. And I think just something that came to mind. This is kind of like off topic, but I think what separates Anthony, because I just know him on a personal level too, is like he knew his why and what he was doing because he had his mom going through some stuff and he was able to help support bills and just be a great son on top of being building a business. And so I think the importance of knowing what you're doing it for, right? What you're working towards, but also the importance of like knowing your identity through it all is going to help you succeed at a quicker level. And I guess this is a question for you, like how important is it to just be so confident that you are that agent when you're putting out content? I mean, even like I know you are a vet now, you're
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
top dog
All
now,
that.
but like even like for these new agents, like I'm sure you tell them you got to act like you're the top dog before you even become it. And so, like, what's that mindset shift like?
Yeah, you got to fake it till you make it, man. If you don't have like I said, like the content, like I think that's the concept of it. Like not fake it. And what I mean is, like you don't know the answers. You don't know about this particular problem. Pretend that you do, right? Just
Right.
get the lead, get the client, get the person to reach out to, and then you can figure it out along the way. Too many people spend too much time trying to learn the purchase contract, try to learn the ins and outs, and know all the intricacies of a particular loan program. None of that matters, okay? You got to just start creating. You have to put yourself out there to create opportunities because you're going to miss those opportunities that you're not taking. And really that is the big as a new agent. That is the biggest thing that you can do is just stop over analyzing, overthinking. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. You already have everything you need in your tool set to start creating content. Your phone. That's all you need. You don't need any fancy equipment. That's called analysis paralysis. You're over analyzing everything. Just get out there, create content. Um, be surrounded by a good environment, a good group of individuals that want you to succeed, that want you to win, and be competitive. You know, there's nothing wrong with competition. My closest
Right.
friend in the brokerage is we've been going back and forth for the last 5 years for the number one and number two spot, and our families vacation together. We were just snowboarding over the weekend, right? Like
Yeah.
it's okay to have competition within your own friend group. Like him and I compete with each other. We got love for each other. We respect each other. We want the best for each other. But obviously, I want to outbe him just as much as he wants to outshine me. Like we're competitive, right? So be competitive, right? Find somebody to compete with. They don't know you're competing with them, maybe, but find somebody to compete with that you're like, you know what, I want to beat this person. But have love for them, have respect for them, appreciate them, and help each other out. But ultimately, you just got to outwork them. You know, and that's the thing. Like Rudy and I share so many secrets and so much intel. We share so much knowledge when it comes to our teams, you know, when it comes to our independent growth. But ultimately, like our goal to each other is just to kind of like outwork ourselves, right? Or who's going to have a
Yeah.
luckier year this year. Once you start doing that, at one point it does get luck, you know, at one point
Yeah.
it does become luck, right? But yeah, just get a good environment, a group of people, and make sure that you're creating. Don't overthink it, don't overanalyze it, and don't post and pray, post and prospect. That's the
Love
biggest
that,
thing
man.
I can give you.
Thank you. Thank you. One last question, just for anyone that's on here. And I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Yeah.
We need part two for ads.
Yeah. What
And
part? I mean, there's really nothing to it as far as ads. Like as far as the intricacies of how to create an ad and go through that, that's something
yeah,
that you can watch a YouTube video or do Chat GPT over it, right? That's one
yeah.
thing that I
And
don't even do that for my team.
let's just ask this then. Are you using Meta ads or are you doing Instagram
I
boosts?
started with Instagram, and
Okay.
that's where everybody should start.
Start with Instagram boosts.
Meta's too intricate, too involved, too difficult to learn.
Yeah, that's
Start
what I
with
heard too.
Yeah, start with Instagram, give yourself a year, and then potentially, you know, go into Meta. You know, the only reason why I started using Meta is because um, I was getting flagged because I was doing too much outreach. I was sending out too
Mm,
many messages and I was
yeah,
getting flagged. So then I had to switch my marketing strategy from just from that to more of a message lead generating campaign through my social media where I had people actually reaching out to me instead. And I understood that the cost per message was going to be higher. But yeah, so in terms of the intricacies, the ins and outs of creating ad, 5 minute video on YouTube is all you need. You know, I do this with my team. Even with my team, I don't answer those type of questions because that's the same way that I was taught, right? When AZ, when podcasts, you know, OBS and mics, he was like, here's what I use. You go figure it out, right? So the simplest thing that you can do is just watch a quick video on YouTube, watch a quic video, and then just figure out how to boost your first ad. Like it's
yeah.
super easy to do, super easy to
And
do.
the conversation pieces, you're obviously having a lot of conversations a day. Like, what's that number look like? And I think I could be right or wrong here, but Instagram limits you on a certain amount of DMs that you post out. I know TikTok does, but does Instagram do that too?
It will limit you, and I mean, you got to test that theory. I don't know the exact number, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
How many it takes for you
Someone
to.
test that theory and let us know.
Yeah, yeah. You know, hey, you know what? Test that theory and let us know. That'd be a great way to pay it back for Michael that you guys learned and took away a lot from this conversation. And guys, look, I mean, this is gold. Like, I'm not. I don't say this lightly. I say this very humbly, but like you can meet 1,000 agents and you might meet one that produces at the same level that I do. Everything that I'm telling you guys is everything that I do, everything that I taught my agents. Lean on Michael a ton for his wealth of knowledge that he has. He's around us all the time, not just in this environment. You know, like I said, we're training together, we're working out together.
Yeah.
So he knows a lot. So rely on him as much as you can and build that foundation with Michael because you know there is no I mean, I don't think there's a better resource for you guys out there. You know, you guys just got a $10,000 master class in an hour through Michael and Landmark. You know, so make sure that you guys don't take that for granted because you can't get this kind of this type of value. You can't get it anywhere else.
Hey, I'll take an escrow, anyone out there, that's for sure. But
Absolutely.
uh
I
what
got
what
two more
I
for you this week
what
coming. Don't
I appreciate it. No, what I do want to say though is like, yeah, I mean, the secret sauce is I mean, you guys give it away. I think at least everyone that I work with is pretty good at just sharing and collaborating, but the one thing that I just noticed through the agents that I do try to pour into, it's they're not willing to the creating the content is hard for them. They're not willing to actually do the work. And I guess if you take anything from this call is like you just need to execute and do it. Like there's no other way that you're gonna find out until you actually just commit to it.
That's a good point, man. That's a really good point. It's not trying to find the different things. Like I'm giving you the secret sauce. There's one thing that works. I know it works. Just do that one thing. Try it for 90 days. And if it doesn't work, then you can text me, send me a direct message and say I was full of crap and then move on, right? But like give yourself 90 days of marketing and creating content. And when I say marketing, I don't mean paying for ads, right? Give yourself
Yeah.
much more time. On that subject, the reason why we give away the sauce, and I hate to say this, and I hope everybody on this call can take this as a challenge. Oh,
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Keep talking.
the reason why we give away this sauce and the reason why we do it so confidently is because we know how unlikely it is for somebody to do it, right? It's not like take it
Right.
as a challenge. Whoever's on this call, take it as a challenge. I'm challenging you. I'm calling you out. I don't know who's on the call, but it's like it's so uncommon for people to actually execute. You know, a lot of people go, they get pumped up, they're excited, they go to the seminar, I'm going to do this, and they don't do it, right? And a lot of
Yeah.
times that's because of the environment that you're in that's not pushing you in a way that it should. And like I said, lean on Michael for that push, you know, but it has to go both ways. You have to reciprocate that and obviously give him the escrows that he needs because that's where he makes his living from.
Yeah, if you really want to challenge, I know you talked about this, but that 30 days live is so hard.
Yeah.
If you really want to see growth, not just like on the camera or in your business, but just like in the way that you communicate and deliver a message,
Yeah.
figure out 30 days worth of conversations that you're gonna go live on, no scripts, and just go on live for like, I don't know, a minute or 5 minutes. Sometimes, like, when you start getting into a groove, you're on there for like 10 minutes and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where all your thoughts and everything just come out, and that's where building organically actually really happens. Like people see your humility, your vulnerability, and that's where you're actually going to attract the people that you want to work with, right? Like you don't want to work with everybody, I promise you, you don't. You want to work with people that just kind of relate to who you are and kind of the values that you put out there. So that's my last thing. But we'll wrap this up. You have any last thoughts, Rio?
No, man, I think we've all pretty much hit it on the nail. So I
That was a
appreciate it.
lot. That was really good, man. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate everybody else's time on this call as well. Um, where can someone find you on Instagram? What's your handle so someone could reach out if they want?
Yeah, you can just go to Rio Vidrio, RIO, and then VIDRIO.
Uh-huh.
That's just you'll find me. There's either me or my son. Don't pick my
Yeah.
son. We have the same name.
You,
There's only two of us.
you'll know you're in the right search engine if you see both of them pop up. But
Yeah.
yeah, you could find Rio there. You could see exactly what we're talking